All right, so today we are going to be talking about what, Lucas?
We're going to be talking about buying a sports team and bringing a sports team to St. Louis and possibly an NBA team. That's been our goal for, what do you think now, 2-3 years?
Probably 3 years. Do you want to give a little context to that, or you want me to do that?
You go ahead, give a little context.
Well, my context might be different than yours. My context is Lucas and I have been investing in real estate since 2014. We both quit our jobs in 18. And that was a really good time to invest in real estate, 2014 to like 21, 22. And everything we did, I felt like ended very well. Like we were on fire with our businesses and buying real estate and buying all these things. And so we said, fuck it, let's shoot for the moon. We wanted to own this much real estate, we doubled that. We wanted to start this many businesses, we tripled that. So we said, let's set a crazy, non-achievable or maybe achievable goal that's really going to push us.
Yeah.
And we did, and we talked about it privately for a while, then we talked about it publicly for a while. And I feel like that momentum has faded, not that we actually had momentum to buy, but that excitement for it, because it's been a tougher couple years. So personally, I haven't thought about it as much, and I honestly didn't think about it as much, but if I did, I probably would have said, that's not going to happen. We can't even run our four businesses. You know, some months we make a lot, some months we make a little. We're not going to be able to actually buy an $8 billion team. But I like that we're getting back into it. So that's my kind of background on it. It was in the forefront of a lot of what we talked about for a while.
Yeah.
I was asked about it on every podcast I was on because people
For
thought it
sure.
was so cool.
I think people still talk about it.
But we
That's
don't.
the cool part to me is people still remember that big goal that's out there.
Because it's cool.
Whether, whether you don't know us or whether you do, whether you're in the office here. And I think it is cool and it's exciting. And people that, sometimes you have a dream and then you don't believe in it for a while. It takes somebody else to kind of believe in you before you believe in yourself, right? And I think that's kind of
you first.
Thank you. It's kind of what like our team is doing to us right now. It's like, oh man, you can't lose, give up on that. You guys got this. Like, right? Yeah, man, I think we do. If that's what we really wanted, we could go do that. And I believe not everything that we touch turns to gold, because we had a lot of failures back in 2014 to 2021. I don't know if you remember them as much.
I do, but we also, had a full-time job, and
maybe they feel a little different.
They feel different, and they're smaller.
Yeah.
It's like, that flip made $5,000 or $8,000, and we lost $8,000. Not, this company lost $75,000 this month.
Yeah,
it's a little. So just they're bigger wins, but also big, and that's what happens. More money, more problems. As my boy Biggie. Is that Biggie? Or is that Tupac?
That is Biggie. Yeah,
they weren't
great
friends.
job.
Okay.
But anyway, yes, I'm still getting more excited about it. But you're right. When you got to pull up your sleeves and get to work, it's not the first thing you think about when you get up. You're like, man, I gotta make sure the P&L looks good this month or this quarter or this year. Sometimes that's at the forefront of our thought processes versus, hey, let's bring an NBA team to here.
I would say it's more of, it might be a little extreme, but how I kind of felt, like not as extreme, was you're in a little bit more survival mode. You're not in creation or growth mode. I feel like we're in creation and growth mode for a long time. We created all these businesses, scaled them, awesome office building, all these really, really cool things. And then the industry slowed down, and we're learning to be investors, and we're learning to be entrepreneurs and business owners and lead people and things. The momentum for our businesses on our network slowed for the first time.
Yeah.
So I felt like it was more of like survival than growth and expansion, but that doesn't mean we can't get back to that.
Oh, it will get back to that.
Yes,
for
100%.
Sure. It's like any business that grows, it's not, it's gonna take some time.
Doesn't do this, Lucas.
Doesn't do this, believe me. So we just gotta fight through the tough times and have this still be on our mind to kind of excite us and push us when times do get hard. And man, looking forward to that. But we're gonna talk about today how if this was one of your crazy goals out there, or we're gonna how real estate can help you acquire a very large asset, in particular, this episode, a sports franchise.
Yes, it's going to be real estate backed, like 90% of what we talk about is. But we're going to turn a single family rental in 2014 worth $125,000 into an NBA team. Lots of stuff goes on in between that, but that's what we're doing. And I've been pretty good about the have I not?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I'd be pretty focused about it.
Yes, and one of the reasons we're talking about this today is, there I go. Gosh, now I'm thinking about it a whole bunch. But, however, and all those words.
Perfect.
Lakers just sold for $10 billion. So it's kind of on our minds right now when we're like, damn, we can't buy anything
kn-
worth $10 million.
Yeah, I don't know. They might be the most expensive. They're probably one of the most iconic brands.
Yeah.
Them, the Yankees.
Yeah.
Trying to think, the Cowboys maybe, but
Highest value ever.
Yes, highest
Yeah.
sold value ever. Doesn't mean that.
Yeah,
but
and nothing's even valued over that
correct
right now.
Even
In the world.
soccer teams,
In the
anything,
world.
Yeah.
And it's sold for that. So something could sell for higher, but nothing proved it. So that's what kind of spurred this conversation. So we're going to give you kind of a current snapshot of our real estate portfolio, because that's how we're going to do this thing. We're going to do it off of equity, whether it's business equity. That's how Steve Ballmer bought the Clippers, right? Or real estate equity. That's how it's going to happen. Current snapshot where we're at. Where we're going to go with scaling and just the riding the wave of appreciation and debt pay down, and then kind of showing you what we have left after all that in 20 years. And then we're going to go through some sports franchises and talk about the valuation of there and maybe some deal structure on how we'd be able to take one of them down.
Does
that sound fun?
This is quite the outline, Lucas. Good job.
I did not do this.
Did you have some
outline.
help?
Yeah.
B
Thank
money.
you, Brendan. Shout out.
All right. Okay. So I'll give us the current portfolio snap. Or no, you do the
No,
current.
go
and I'll
ahead.
do
This is a good one.
All right. Okay.
This is a good one for
So
you.
currently we're sitting on about $50 million worth of real estate. I think if we piecemealed that out, we could probably get 52, 53 million. If we sold it in a chunk, we could maybe get 50 million. And in order to acquire that, we used debt, which is about $30 million in debt. So that gives us $20 million in equity, which is really cool considering we didn't use any of our own money to get that $20 million in equity. We bought the assets. The assets we added value with through rehabbing or just being efficient. And then the equity grew over time. And assuming a 4% annual appreciation plus debt pay down every year gets us where in 20 years, Lucas?
Yeah, so our portfolio value in 20 years with 4% year-over-year appreciation goes from $50 million to right at $110 million. That's a lot. That's crazy
That's
how
a
it
lot.
compounds, right? That's just what investing does, whether it's real estate or whether it's stock, whatever it is. That's what happens as it compounds. And then kind of just guesstimated, didn't do an amortization chart on debt pay down, but have $30 million in 20 years be paid down to $10 million. That's what I'm going to assume, right? So of the current portfolio that we have, $110 million in value in 20 years, $10 million in debt if we don't touch it, don't refinance, don't do everything. We're going to wait to refi or wait to sell until we buy that sports team. So that's $100 million in equity just from time.
From our current, and we're not
current.
going to stop, though. We're going to
Yeah.
continue to buy. But still, maybe we're going to use that other equity, those other properties for something else. I feel like I'm facing that way. I'm supposed to face this way.
Supposed to face that way, bro.
Your big dumb feet are in the way.
Oh, they are.
Okay.
14s, bro.
So let's say we do keep acquiring.
Yeah.
Though.
Let's talk about that. So right now, and I think we can scale up from this, but this is pretty conservative, but on pace to buy 30 houses this year, 30 new rental houses we're adding to the portfolio. And if we do that for 20 years, we'll have how many houses is that? Another 600? Another 600, I think. So that's a lot of houses. That's what we could do over the course of 20 years, and probably we could scale up and get more efficient, do any more than that. Let's assume, Sam, that each of these houses, and this is probably conservative as well, of the new houses is worth on average $250,000
in 20 years.
Well, all of them. So we'll buy, a ton.
Their average of 200 right now.
We'll
probably.
buy 300 in 10 years. So those average will maybe be 250. So maybe be a little more, but my math, I did 250.
Okay.
All right, 250,000. Hopefully a little more. So our portfolio of the new houses that we add to the portfolio would be $150 million, which is a lot. And we're going to put, as we grow, about 70 to 75% loan to value worth of debt with a value add BRRRR method on it. And then we'll probably pay that down to about 65 to 70%. So I said $100 million worth of debt. So 150 value, $100 million worth of debt, $50 million of new equity created.
I like it.
Okay.
It's insanely conservative. Real estate doubles in value every 15 years, but that
Close.
is just fine.
I did a little bit of math.
What?
It says close. It almost
Well,
does.
assuming 4%, that's not
That's
100% accurate. Yes.
Yeah, assuming 4%. I got some assumptions in here, right?
Yes, and
And
very
it is
conservative
conservative.
assumptions.
Yep, no doubt.
Keep rolling.
Cool. So by year 20, combined portfolio value with what we own now and then what we're going to add The total is going to be $260 million worth of real estate.
It's a quarter bill, brah.
Quarter bill, brah. And hopefully conservative. Hopefully 355, who knows. And the debt is going to be the $10 million of our current portfolio that we paid down to, and then the 50 new debt. So that's $60 million. Is that correct? No,
Yep.
I'm sorry. No, $100 million of new debt.
Oh.
So it's 100 plus 10, which is $110 million worth of debt. Sorry, a couple of
So
those
it's
are
going to be
wrong.
150 million.
100, yeah. So 260 value, 110 of debt, $150 million of equity. Pretty cool. I did some fun, quick math.
Okay, do
I did
it.
it for another because
There's
in
no such
20
thing as
years
fun
we're
math.
This is fun.
Okay.
This is fun math to me. Sorry, you don't like this math? You don't like 150
like-
in
I
equity?
mean-
150 mil? Is that not
What's
cool to you?
34 plus 35? That's fun math.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's how old you are?
What is it?
69?
Woo, get it?
Gotcha. Okay, cool. So in 20 years, we're going to be, 57? So have, pretty prime of our life,
Yeah.
give or take. That'll be a really good spot to be.
People are telling me with AI, everybody's going to live to 100, so we'll be halfway through.
Yeah, there you go. So, and then another 20 years, we'll be a little older. Let's say 77. I projected this out another 20 years, which gets a little fun. But, that's okay. We'll still be alive, hopefully, and semi-healthy, but not as spry as we were when we were 57. So
Speak for yourself, son.
So $260 million portfolio turns into $570 million in the next 20 years.
Nice.
So that's cool. So we go from 50 to 570, and that's without adding any.
That's without adding any,
That's
yes,
without
which
adding
we
any.
will. And that's, again, without using any of our own
Yeah.
money. We might have to start to use our own money eventually, but we haven't yet. And if we do,
Yeah.
it'll be money generated through the assets that we bought using
Yeah.
our own money. How's that for a tongue twister?
Very cool, Sam. Very cool tongue twister.
Thank
All right, let's
you.
get back to the cool math. All right. So we got 260 and 110, right? There's some ways we can use that equity. We got to
Okay.
get to that equity to buy the sports team. We
Okay,
got to
we
get to
gotta
that
get
equity
we
somehow.
need that 150 million, okay?
We need that 150 million. If we sell everything, we'll probably get 150 minus commissions, right? Which would be, to sell a $250 million portfolio would have to be to like a hedge fund or something,
BlackRock,
private equity
take that
group.
bitch.
Yep, which they probably would.
Yes.
But let's say we want to keep this stuff still. It's
Okay.
excellent assets, and let's just go with a simple refinance. So we're going to bring that baby up to 80% of 260, which would be 208 million, and we got 110 worth of debt. So let's call it 100 million worth of equity.
Let's call it that.
So we get $100 million cash out refinance. 100 million,
Cash tax free.
tax free. Here's $100 million.
That's a lot of
Do
money.
you think
in
we
your
go to
hand.
like First State Bank and just be like, hey,
Yeah.
can you give us that check now?
Or we go put it on black at the casino, maybe double it.
That'd be wild. But we might need to. We'll see.
That video would get a lot of views.
So for the sake of taking down a sports team, Sam, let's use $100 million. We have cash, $100 million cash. Okay.
I see. Yep, I can envision it right now.
Okay, so let's go talk about some sports franchises a little bit, and just talk right now, just valuations, what they've sold for in the past. You want to go through some of these, and then we'll talk about deal structure.
Yeah,
and how
for
to,
sure.
How to maybe even leverage our $100 million a little bit.
So the best news the Lakers family can have, or the Lakers nation can have, is
Next one, we'll get to the.
Oh, what am I doing?
We'll get to the. Let's just get to. We'll talk about the Lakers here in a second, but they're just so not affordable. Let's go through some in
Okay, so
every
the-
sport.
so
Yeah.
the average sales price in the last 5 years for NFL football teams has been $4.5 to $6 billion. The Commanders just sold us the most ever in 2023 for a little over $6 billion. Very valuable franchise,
Yeah.
storied franchise. I think they're going back to the Redskins, but anyways, regardless, that team, and then the low end, which is the low end is
It's about
2004
over 10 years ago.
is 1.4 billion. That's going to be the Buffalo Bills, and they're probably worth double or triple that at this point.
Yeah, no doubt.
Basketball, the last 5 years has been 2.5 to 4 billion. Phoenix Suns sold for $4 billion in 2022. Hawks sold for $850 million. Damn,
That would have been a fun
10
one.
years ago.
Because they were in St. Louis
They
back
were
in
in
the day,
St.
weren't
Louis.
they?
Yeah, they were. And apparently, the Phoenix Suns owner is a really kind of cool young guy, but apparently he's a freaking idiot. It sounds like the stuff he's doing is, but anyways, he's
Okay.
freaking ruining them. All right, and then MLB, the last 5 years has been 1.5 to 2.5 billion. The Mets sold for 2.4 billion in 2020. Hockey, nobody gives a shit, but let's talk about it. The average sales price, 600 million to $1 billion. The Ottawa Senators sold for 950 million in 23. And then lastly, the soccer, MLS, the franchise expansion fee. So it's 500 million for a team. That's wild. Resale prices are lower but rising. So you have to get in $500 million, but it's not even worth that because you said resale's less, so you're just overpaying to get in.
Yeah, I would think. I would do that.
$500 million?
Yeah.
Is that,
For,
I guess
to
that's,
buy the city team.
that's what they had to pay to get that, right?
Yeah. I feel like it's going to be worth more than that eventually.
Yes, yeah, eventually.
It probably depends a lot on the financials. Like, you're not just pay this to say you own it. Like, it's a business. You want to get a return on your money
Yes,
here.
correct.
Okay, cool. And then the next page, Sam, is kind of cool as well. We threw in some women leagues as well, the
Ooh.
WNBA and the National Women's Soccer League, but specifically the WNBA. We had a whole episode on this not that long ago, but want to recap it for us a little bit there?
I would love to, Lucas.
All
So
right.
the average WNBA team is about $275 million based on Forbes' recent valuation. There's 12 teams, and that has gone up significantly because of one person, Caitlin Clark. We had an whole episode on that. The top valuations are going to be the New York Liberty. A minority stake in that implied about a $450 million valuation. The Fever, $370 million valuation driven by CC.
So it was about what, like 80 million?
Yeah.
2 years ago.
They've all doubled or tripled
Yeah.
because of Caitlin Clark. The Connecticut Sun, which is a weird name for a Connecticut,
That is.
team.
It seems like the Phoenix Suns.
estimated about $200 million, so they are the lowest. You guys suck.
So you're about 190. Atlanta Dream is the lowest to 400 plus.
What's this Atlanta team selling so damn low for?
Yeah, I don't know.
Hot Atlanta, they call it, Lucas.
Yeah, but I think that's I don't know. There's a lot there. I like those numbers because I could see those being a lot higher in the near
And, like,
future.
and-
I can see all these being a
And
lot higher.
they are
Yeah.
going to be, in
Yeah.
my opinion, but those are a little more affordable.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about affordability. So we only have 100 million,
Damn it. Only
and not
100 million.
one of these teams sold for that. So I look at buying these as buying like businesses, buying assets, right?
That's how they were all bought, Luke. I don't think
you
one
know,
person paid cash
My
for
house
any
is
of them.
worth X. Did I pay X in cash?
No.
No. So we can use other financing strategies to leverage the cash that we have,
Banks
100 million.
and other investors.
Banks,
probably.
other investors, equity partners, whatever it looks like. So I'm not 100% sure. I've never looked into actually like trying to finance a team. But would you say you could use? I'm really asking this. I don't know. Like use that $100 million to get a to buy something that's $500 million.
Yep.
Yeah, like 20% down type of thing. I think
Yep.
you could too.
100%.
Cool. So right now, in 20 years, we're going to be able to buy a $500 million something.
Is anything,
right?
that's not going to work
MLS
for
fee.
any.
They're still lowering that now. It might still be the fee. You never know. And these are going to get more expensive. Let's not play that game, guys. Like let it be a little fun for us.
Okay,
for a
chat.
second.
Is that what all the kids say they call when they're talking to the camera? They say, chat. What up, chat? Gosh, I'm looking the wrong way again. Damn it.
Yeah, I was too for a second.
We got to get this.
Okay. So that is for us. We could buy a $500 million franchise.
Yep. But 100% ownership.
100% ownership.
Yeah. Nobody has that.
Kind of cool, right?
I would look that up, Brendan, if you can. Maybe just chat. Does any professional sports team have 100% ownership
Right.
from one? I don't think they do.
Yep. So if we found some other wealthy people with some equity, say we want to do 50-50.
Or that, which would still be a lot. I mean, Patrick Bet Davis talked
Which would
about got a
still be a
very
lot.
small percentage of the Yankees.
So let's do 50-50 and go up to bring in another $100 million partner. We got $100 million, someone else get $100 million. Now we can buy a $1 billion franchise,
a Billy,
right? If we're 25%,
Which would be-
we would be $400 million, and we could put down, so that'd be $2 billion, right?
And-
$2 billion
and
franchise.
25% would still be
Right.
close to majority. Nah, maybe.
Yeah.
I think some of these are split up by a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah, or you know what I mean. We could, and that's probably with that type of ownership. You're part of a decision-making ownership group.
Yes,
Right?
we would be.
We're very involved in the
Wouldn't be like
operations and
Jera.
stuff.
Wouldn't be like Jera Jones, but we would be involved.
Right? Yeah, not that involved, but there's
Or this
also
Suns guy.
Yeah.
Apparently, he's hired all his like Michigan State friends. Like nobody knows anything about basketball. He just has all his friends there. That's why they're kind of
yeah. I mean, you have yeah.
wanting to make the
You have-
decisions.
You have Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and Devin Booker don't even make the playoffs.
Can't do anything.
Yeah.
So we won't go down that tangent, but I don't think we'd have the ego to be like, I know more about this sport teams that we buy than
No.
somebody that's been doing this for 30
No.
years, and yeah, we would let them run it and have fun helping make decisions. What
For
do you got,
sure.
Brendan?
So for the NFL, the only one is the Dallas Cowboys. And it's owned by
NFL is The Jones family is the only one, yeah. And he bought it for like, I think, $650 million or something. We might need to get Brendan on the mic one of these days. We used to have Shane or Gaynor over there for stuff like that. There's a mic, or we had one over there. But anyways,
Yeah.
so yes, there's maybe a couple examples, but of the 150 professional sports teams we talked about, they all have majority minority owners.
Yeah.
It's under 10 in total.
Yeah. Yeah, so we can leverage our cash to go do that. The financials have to make sense because we're going to have a hefty debt payment to make, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or we can just take our $100 million and become like a silent partner, right?
Which
Not
I'd be
silent.
fine with.
Yeah, but we still get perks and stuff, obviously. But like,
So in that owner's
say
box?
say there's a $2 billion team out there. We use our $100 million, go buy in, and we get 5% ownership. You know what I mean?
That'd be cool. And we would still be getting cash flow from our rentals and all our other businesses.
Yes,
which-
and we'd get cash flow from that.
Yes,
too.
we would for sure. I
Yeah.
think Patrick Bet David said he's averaging a 14% cash-on-cash return with his
Yeah.
Yankees, and that's not include the equity. I'm sure they're going up in value
Yeah.
too. So that's pretty cool.
Do you remember
part of
his
it.
buy-in numbers at all?
I do not.
Okay,
know.
that'd be cool.
I'm sure he's
to
talked
look
about
at.
him. He's pretty open. We could probably look him up. But yeah, he's that's pretty cool.
Yep. So that's, my friends, is how you use real estate to buy a sports franchise.
Well, that's how you use real estate to do anything. And
Yeah.
this is a play on leverage, Lucas. That's
Yeah.
everything is. Elon Musk paid $44 billion for Twitter,
Yeah.
which he overpaid for. But I saw the sheet. He had Goldman Sachs was on it, Bank of America was
Yeah.
on it. He had investors on it. I think the minimum was 50 or 100 million. Like he cobbled it. I wouldn't say that because I'm sure it's very strategic. But
Yeah.
he used little to none of his own cash to buy it,
Yeah.
and he has a majority stake ownership in it. And I think
100%.
it's just valued at $44 billion. He got it back up to that,
Yeah.
cut 80% of the staff, and
Yeah.
because it was not worth $44 billion when he bought it. But anyways,
Yeah.
I think he like
it's worth what you pay for it.
That's
worth
true.
someone buys it for.
That's true.
But I don't know. I think that's pretty cool. It's a fun, super fun exercise.
I
We never
agree.
really like put pen to paper. But thank you, Brendan.
Can I
for
talk
helping
about
us out
Lakers
with
now?
this.
You yelled at me
Yeah,
last
yeah.
time. So the Lakers just sold for the whole thing that I think got this re-engaged was the Lakers, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so they sold for $10 billion, which is like by far the most. Ballmer like 8 or 10 years ago bought the Clippers for $2 billion.
Unbelievable.
And they got to be
Yeah.
worth triple that by now. But
Yeah.
anyways, regardless, by far the highest ever. The Buss family has owned them since I think like the 70s or
Wow.
60s because,
Jerry was the
yeah.
first. Was he the first one that kind of orchestrated that?
Maybe I don't know if he
Yeah.
got them from Minnesota or what, but regardless, they are the most valuable franchise. And from my sources in the league, Lucas,
Yeah.
this was a long time coming. Apparently, the Lakers are run like a mom and pop shop.
Yeah.
Just if you're friends of the Busses, you get
Yeah.
decisions making, you're able to do things, and they don't bring in outside help. Their scouting department's underfunded, just like
Yeah.
not professional. And the team, the group that bought it, the Walters Group, bought the Dodgers, I think 10 years ago, and they've made the playoffs every year since they bought them.
Yeah.
They've won 2 titles. They've won 4 pennants. So apparently the talk is they're going to come in and like use technology, up the staff, up the
Yeah.
facilities, and make it like everybody's scared the Lakers are going to be really freaking good now because Miami and LA, NBA is a winter league. That's where the stars want to go,
Yeah.
and they're going to be able to attract even more.
The Lakers are so.
And they got
such a-
Luka.
Such a franchise that they're going to be good regardless. Even
Correct.
running like a mom and pop.
That's
they have
exactly
the
my point.
second most, championships of any team ever, and under the Buss ownership, I think it was a lot of them under the Buss ownership.
Oh, I think the dad was. I think
Little
it's more
more.
of the kids is more
Gotcha.
of the family.
That makes sense. Jeannie's cool.
Yeah, I think
like
she's
Jeannie
cool.
a lot.
But doesn't
Um,
you can be really really smart, but not like run an NBA team.
Oh
Very
yeah,
well,
no
for
doubt.
Sure.
Or maybe it's not your passion. And
Yeah.
you just get burned out. It's
And
probably
you
a lot
need
of freaking
extra
work.
money and help to
Yeah.
do it. And it's just wild to me that there are horrible owners of sports franchises and incredible. You'd think they'd all
Yeah.
be great but it's just like any other
Yeah.
business. And there's horrible GMs and great GMs.
Yep.
But anyways,
Yeah, Lakers treat their people like family. I get that.
and there's nothing you can.
Nothing
I
wrong
think
with
you have
that.
a
That's
mixture.
how they
of-
wanted to do it. If they're like,
Yes.
if we own it, this is how we're going to do it.
Mhm, and they still sold for $10 billion.
Yeah.
Imagine maybe if they were.
Yeah.
Because it's not really technically about wins. It's more about, I guess, revenue and merchandise and,
Yeah.
and TV contracts and things like that.
For sure. Just
But-
ask the Dallas Cowboys.
Yes.
They haven't won a ton, right?
No, they
And
haven't
they're
won.
still
They
the
haven't.
most valuable football franchise?
Probably, I bet they're more valuable than Lakers.
Wow. Yeah. So,
I mean,
and they-
NFL
and they- and they-
smashes
and
the
they
NBA.
They haven't won.
No, they haven't. I don't know if they've won.
Since Emmett's, did they win with Emmett and Troy?
Yes, they did. They
So that was
haven't
like,
made
what,
it to
early-
they haven't made it to the conference championship in 30 years.
Yeah.
and they've
they're
only
the
made the
most
playoffs a
valuable.
few times. Yeah,
So you're right. It doesn't matter.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about the brand.
But that's super cool. So I hope they come in and make them a better franchise. The world is better when the Lakers. Are good.
The sports, but everybody
Yeah.
wins when they win. It's kind of I think they're always going to be expanding, Lucas. I
Yeah.
just saw I was getting my haircut at Sports Cup yesterday. By the way, thanks for the compliment on how good it looks.
It does look
And
good. I just complimented you. You came in with like a bright red face.
because
I was like,
the
what
hot
hell is
towels,
wrong
they
with
did
you?
2 of them. She did the first hot steam
Yeah.
towel, and it almost burnt. She's like, "Is that okay?" And they ask you after
Did
they
you
put
say,
it on.
"Ow!"
They'll stop it in the mic, but they put it on your face and start rubbing, and then she's like, "Is that okay?" I'm not gonna say no then, but like burnt. The second one was much cooler because they do a deal where you get 2 for 1 in June.
Damn.
Come on now, bargain shopper. But anyways, I was watching the TV and they were talking about MLB going to Nashville. They're the number 1
Oh,
on
yeah,
the
I can
list.
see
So
that.
Nashville going
makes
there.
a
They
lot
had
of
like
sense.
a 47% chance of getting, and everybody
I feel
else
like
was
it's like
in
a baseball town.
yeah, it was like
too,
Nashville,
right?
and then it was like Portland and Vegas. There was or I guess the A's are going to Vegas, so they weren't on there. But regardless, it was a list, and I guess they're going to be next. So even the Major League Baseball, which hasn't expanded in a while, all
Yeah.
these leagues are going to continue to expand. And I can't believe the WNBA has 12. I mean, they're going to have 30
Yeah.
in the next 20 years probably.
Yeah.
So they're going to grow and expand. So
Well, wonder what their expansion fee is. You know,
not
MLS
500
is
million,
Not that much.
not even
right?
close. Yeah.
Right,
I mean, the MLS is not like basketball or football, but they make money. The
And
WNBA,
they've been around.
Yeah, the WNBA doesn't make money.
guess
Well,
they
WNBA has been around longer, I
Wow.
believe.
Wow.
But it's they're both of them are on the lower end. But from what I've heard, as a strength of a league financially, the WNBA was. I mean, it was subsidized by the NBA. I think they paid like 150 million a year to just have it be.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
Yeah, but yeah, so with Lakers getting sold at $10 billion, it's kind of like the Caitlin Clark effect. All the other teams in the league are going to be worth more. They're going to get pulled to
like
that.
when we flip a house in a neighborhood and sell it
set
for
the
more.
comp. Set the comp, right? And this says now smaller pieces of teams are trading hands like 2%, 5%, 10%. That's where we can
And
come in.
based on the higher value, that's what Patrick Bet David did.
When we're 57, we're going to get 1% of something. And be
Let's
just
go.
stoked.
Yeah.
Be like, here's $50 million.
Little boy, you going little boy.
Hey, here you go.
Yes, that's what we're going to do. That's exactly what we're going to say. But
we're like, do we get a suite at all the home games? They're like, no.
no, you have to pay full price for everything.
Yeah, you were a
fucking
1% owner. We don't even know who you are.
Yeah.
That's right. That would still be cool.
That's all right. I mean, that's like, I don't know. On a small percentage of that winery, Luke's the same thing. Just
Very
coming around.
similar.
We get
Yeah.
50% off wine, though. You think, I bet we get 50% off tickets for being owners.
Yeah.
Maybe probably free. But anyways, regardless, that was fun. That is fun. What else you got to leave them with?
I don't know, man. We could go a lot of different directions, or just kind of just drop the mic.
We can drop the mic.
So
we can drop the mic. I'll do a swimming meet update next week.
Okay, do swimming meet update next week. With the NBA season did end.
Yes.
Very not very climactical.
Anticlimactic.
Anticlimactic.
With Halliburton getting hurt and OKC, the ratings were really bad.
Yeah.
The Pacers are fun to watch. OKC for your Cavs viewers not super fun. I like SGA, but lots of fouls and lots of like movement and getting just not the most fluid game to watch, and it just didn't get the best ratings, and it feels a little anticlimactic. This is apparently everybody's saying this is what Silver wanted his league to be: parity, different winner every year, and that's not good for ratings. People like dynasties.
Yeah, for sure. How do you get to know anybody if you win and then you're gone? Like, but I don't think that's what the Thunder are going to be. Like just some one win.
I don't know. We thought that about the Celtics. They've been in
anything
it.
Could
They've
happen.
been close for 4 years in a row, and they only won one.
That's crazy. You're right.
When they were in it, then they were up 2-1 on the Warriors and lost at home and
But
lost
their
that
run
series.
for the last 4 years, I bet, increased the value of their franchise.
Oh
for
yes,
sure.
and
so what do you
this
think
sale did too.
What do you think the Thunder are worth right now?
$5 billion.
Really?
You don't think so?
I don't think
Half as much.
That's a lot of freaking money.
That's half.
Yeah. What do you think a year ago they were worth?
2.5, 3.
Yeah. So maybe 5 now.
I
With the
put it
sale
this
and
way.
the championship?
Put it this way. With the sale, I bet every franchise went up 10%, whatever they were at, maybe 15, without doing a thing.
Well, so small market OKC, if they do become a dynasty because they have, they're the most talented, they have the most wins, they won the finals, and they got 3 picks tomorrow night in the first round.
And they have the most first-round picks of any team in the next 5 years.
Yeah, right. So they have a good chance to set themselves up to become a dynasty. They're a very small market, though. Do you think that could be, even though they're a small market dynasty, be good for the NBA if SGA kind of becomes like a face of the league type thing?
I don't think so. I think the only small market teams that are good is like the Packers, just because they're so storied.
Yeah.
And that's the NFL, and they would win no matter what. I don't know.
They could-
Would
they
you
could
rather
become
something
like that.
own like an apartment complex if all you care about is money in Sedalia or in downtown Nashville? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
fine. I think it's fun to have that because apparently there's
Depends
a
on the
lot
tenants,
of
I guess,
yeah, well, yeah,
and
but
the cash flow.
there's a lot of fans of OKC in like Mississippi and,
Yeah.
and in Tennessee and down in that area. So they don't just draw OKC. So
Yeah. So it's interesting to see what they're going to do over the next couple of years and how the NBA reacts, because I think it could be kind of cool.
Well, all I do know is, and this is from my boy Coward, he talks about it. Dynasties come around like once every 20 years, and every year people think they're going to predict the next dynasty. I thought the Nuggets were going to
Yeah.
go on a run.
Yep.
I thought the
Celtics
still can.
Yeah.
They win it. Looking back at
Yeah.
the Spurs dynasty, they had several year gaps in between championships.
For
And
sure.
same with the
Now, that Spurs
Patriots.
dynasty is underrated.
Well,
That's-
yes, but
that
the
dynasty was
Patriots, they
nasty.
went like 7 years
Oh,
without
yeah,
winning. So
they did.
all of these teams I just mentioned, technically, I guess, could have a dynasty, but you got to do it. In my opinion, you got to win at least 3 in a 10-year period.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good
So
metric.
all those teams could do it, but
Yeah.
history recently has shown 7 different champions,
Yeah.
7 different years.
Wild.
I heard real quick, then we'll go because if somebody's listening, they're probably into this, and a lot of people are probably gone. But the last 7 NBA championships teams, my boy Cowherd ranked them. I think it was clickbait, rage bait. But number 1, he had the 2020 Lakers. Number 2 was the Celtics.
Oh, like at their peak?
Like who like when they won it.
Okay.
Lakers was 1.
Okay.
Celtics was 2. Nuggets was 3. I think he had Toronto
Those
7.
are 3 good teams.
But he had Toronto 7.
That's fine.
And then I think everybody agree with that.
Yeah.
And then he had, I don't remember. I think he had
Bucks are
the
probably-
OKC is like. I think he had OKC then the Bucks.
What about the 2022 Warriors? Kind of right in the middle.
Right in the middle there,
Yeah.
towards the back end of that.
Yeah,
but
that
I-
Bucks
I
team
think
was nasty because that Suns team was really good.
Yes.
And they freaking
they
beat them.
plowed them.
Yeah.
But the Lakers being 1, I mean, who knows?
Yeah, I doubt. Yeah.
AD in his prime, LeBron just
Yeah.
had his prime,
They
pretty
were
good though.
They were really good, but I mean,
And-
better than the Celtics, and then also what was that? Then the Nuggets. Like those 3 teams.
But
who
but
knows?
but
could-
they were also the Lakers had the best record in the league by far before COVID. I forgot that. I was when I listened to remind me.
Yeah.
They were
Well, they were-
crushing
they
the
were
whole.
good. They were the
They
best
were
team that
crushing
year,
the
no
league
doubt.
before COVID, the first
Yeah.
shutdown. All right, that was it. That was fun. Drop the
right.
mic. We got to think of it. We got hello and welcome to the FasterFreedom show. We got to think of an ender. Maybe like you'll hear us on the next one.
Ooh.
Is that good? No.
Gosh, that was so smooth.
Okay, next time we'll think of a better one.
All right. See you guys.
Peace out, Girl Scout.